So welcome back to my channel and you are watching English Flight and I'm Parthojit Bora. So today I'm bringing for you long question answers part 2 from interesting chapter of your course Flamingo the last lesson and long question answers. So today's important question is that how did the people of Elsac pay their regards to Monsieur Hamel on his last day at school? The answer is that the people of Elsac pay their regards to Monsieur Hamel, presenting on the last day at school. Monsieur Hamel was the only teacher of that school. He had been teaching that school for 40 years, 4 decades. But the sudden order from Berlin made him upset and made the day his last day and made the class his last French class. The Alsace people also expressed their sorrow for the sudden order from Berlin. The order was to teach only the German language in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine, and a new master comes from the next day. The order made them upset and aroused patriotic feelings to them. So they were present in the last class of Monsieur Hamel. The village people like old Hauser, the former mayor, the former postmaster, and several others were sitting in the benches of the last class. Everybody looked sad. Hauser had brought an old primer and tried to read it. So the next paragraph, from their gracious presence in the last French class, we may say that thus they paid their regards to Monsieur Hamel and for his 40 years faithful service. In this way, the people of Elsac show their honor and respect towards Monsieur Hamel and also their language. Another important long question answer, describe Monsieur Hamel's last day at school or the character of Monsieur Hamel. So this question came in the year 2016. So very important. So give your best concentration on this question. I am going to read the answer. Monsieur Hamel was a teacher of a school of Alsace who extended long 40 years of his service. The last day of Monsieur Hamel at school was different. It was the last day and the last class for him, because a new order had been notified for the schools of Alsace and Lorraine to teach only German language, and a new master will come on the next day. So that was the last day for Monsieur Hamel in that school. That day he wore a special dress which dress was worn by him only in the inspection days and prize days. Next paragraph, like other days, Monsieur Hamel was not seen to be cranky, anxious and hurt on that day. He seemed to be cool, gentle and serious. Everything was still and silent on that day, like it was a Sunday morning. He taught and discussed several topics that day. First of all, he asked the students about the rules of participles. Then he stated his views regarding the French language and said that it was the most beautiful language in the world, the clearest, the most logical, and they must guard it among themselves and never forget it. Then he taught about grammar, writing, history, etc. That day, Monsieur Hamel explained everything with so much patience, and he wanted to give his students all the knowledge he knew. So, last paragraph, at the end of the class, Monsieur Hamel was stopped. His heart broken with intense agony and sorrow. He was speechless. He wrote on the blackboard, "Vive la France," and declared the end of the class with positive gesture. Thus, Monsieur Hamel spent his last day at school. Thus, the author gives a clear picture of M. Hamel in the last lesson. So next question is very important. This question came recently in the year 2020. The question is that why did Monsieur Hamel not wish to blame France for his failure to learn his lesson? Answer is that Monsieur Hamel didn't wish to blame France for his failure to learn his lesson, because according to Monsieur Hamel, in this regard only France was not only found guilty. France was not only found guilty, but for his failure to learn his lesson, their parents and Monsieur Hamel himself were also part of this guilty. Their parents were not anxious enough to have they learn. They preferred to put their children to work on a farm or at the mills for earning a little more money. Therefore, Monsieur Hamel wanted to blame the parents for the failure of their children to learn their lesson. Next paragraph, he also wanted to blame himself because he had often sent his students to water his flowers instead of learning their lessons. And when he wanted to go fishing, he gave them a holiday. Thus, Monsieur Hamel didn't wish to blame only France for his failure to learn his lesson. So that's all for today's video. And for the new learners, please subscribe my channel, share it among your friends, and press the bell icon that you can never miss any new videos. So thank you very much. Have a nice day.